It's the Stranger Nurse Podcast here. We have myself, Connor Vannemer, with Tommy Gran and Mitchell Lee. We have here Season 3, Episode 5, The Flayed. Written by Paul Ditcher and directed by Uda Britzerwitz. I probably should check that name, but it's what it is. Gentlemen, what'd you think of the episode?
It was a fun one.
Hello.
We say whoa for?
No, I just said hello.
Oh, hello.
It's
I
been
said
a
whoa.
minute.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, no, not whoa. No, we haven't gotten to the whoa part of this season just yet. I know Tommy and I have been kind of hyping up Season 3, especially after not being quite as enthusiastic about Season 2, but I think that, Connor, you can kind of sense what things are building to now that we've gotten to this is the midway point of this season, correct? Okay, so we're a little past the midway point now at episode 5. No, I'm the train's on the track, and I trust where we're headed, even though I know where we're headed.
We get the return of some good characters in this episode. We get a little things get a little heated. It's definitely picking up for the epic season finale that you and I know it is, Mitchell.
And I have no clue.
I think that this is a strong episode, and I know we'll get to the play-by-play here in a second, but just the overall bits. I think this is a very strong Joyce/Hopper episode. I really think that this gives them a lot of time to shine. Maybe you guys will feel differently, but I really thought that their chemistry and the return of an old character and the kind of the integration of a new character in Alexi that I thought was interesting.
Yeah, Lexi's a very interesting character that we definitely like to dive into on that one. So you guys want to get started on the episode?
Yeah, let's dive in, Tom.
So, opening scene was it was a pretty comical way. I know because of how we left off in the last episode, but this one we just start off with them just in a dead drop, kind of like Tower of Terror style. Everybody's screaming, panicking, hitting buttons. You get a lot of comic relief from Dustin. What was your thoughts of that?
Oh, it was great stuff. No, definitely the bickering between them and Erica yelling about having to go back, make sure you get back home for her mom slits all their throats. I was like she plays that sassy character so well, and like not giving a shit to anyone else. Of like, no, only her priorities are the important ones. And it's very funny. Her just hashing out with everybody else.
Yeah, she's definitely the bit of sass the group needs, and I always enjoyed her interaction. Just her commentary alone, she's just always very quick. Make sure she kind of tries to put herself in charge. She's little bit mighty.
Mm-hmm.
But we get them crashing. We kind of see they're stuck at the bottom, and then we kind of pan over to Joyce and Hopper, which as you guys said, this is definitely a Joyce and Hopper heavy episode, and we definitely see why. I mean, they're investigating all the different appearances. We get them going to that final home where they see the Lynx Corp truck outside, and it's just a sketchy house, and they find that little hatch on the floor, and they go down and investigate, and we see a couple of Russian scientists. It's not what you would expect in the middle of Hawkins, Indiana, just in a random home. It was just kind of an odd thing they came across.
I don't remember who, but someone kind of mentions that, like, what are they doing in Hawkins?
Yeah.
Like, why is this happening here of all places?
That was that was the group in the hallway. Her name's blanking me, right? Robin.
Yep.
Because Robin's like, what the hell are they doing here? And then you have that scene. I know we're stepping a little bit ahead here, but they have the scene where both Dustin and Steve just like drop back. I'm like, wait a second, like we know.
Yep.
With a little later, but yeah, that's definitely that thought is also like even Hopper in the car mentions it to Joyce, where it's like, oh no, it's our own government, eh? No, it's like it's that now we know it's the Russians who are here and looking to stir shit up.
Yep. And I just really enjoy the scene where they're, Hopper and Joyce just love to bicker like an old married couple. It's always comical. And you just have Joyce kind of snap Hopper out of it when you hear the footsteps of Grigori just kind of stomping through the house upstairs. And everybody knows exactly who it is because of those heavy footsteps. Hopper knows exactly what's going to happen. And we have a little standoff between Grigori and Hopper. Little Rocky versus Drogo action going on.
No, you have a perfect note on here as far as this guy basically being the Terminator.
Yeah.
He's got the Schwarzenegger voice down perfectly.
Yeah.
Like
yes.
it's what can you tell me about the man that came in here? Like it's just job well done. It's like the guy's got like a really chiseled jaw too. Like
the jawline. It's so good with it.
Yeah, it's like if you punch it, you almost expect anyone to go like ow, that kind of thing. I did want to make a mention of something just at some point during the season because I'm a movie guy, and this show or this season came out.
Movies.
Hey man, we're about to dig into Francis Ford Coppola, so perfect time to start listening. This season came out in the summer of 2019. I want to say around the 4th of July or around that weekend, and some of the members of this cast really needed a big win because David Harbour was coming off of that atrocious Hellboy remake, and he took it really personally that movie did not do well at all financially or critically. Millie Bobby Brown was in a Godzilla movie that no one liked and no one went to go see. So this season kind of came around at the perfect time for some people. So whenever David Harbour's having a good time and being really good in this, it's almost like, ooh, yeah, I can wash my hands of Hellboy.
It's always funny watching actors go from really good films or TV shows to just things that flop, and you're like, well, is it because of them or because of the directing? You always wonder why things flop, but because David Harbour,
Bryan Cranston was in so many things towards the end of Breaking Bad, and some of them were really good, and some of them were not good at all.
Yeah.
But then you turn on Breaking Bad and you're like, oh my gosh, this guy's like one of the best actors we have.
Well, if they decide to make another Terminator movie, which I'm sure they will in a few years, we know who they can cast as Terminator.
Stop making Terminator movies. Stop it.
It'll be a reboot. It'll be Grigori instead of Schwarzenegger.
Terminator Grigori. Yeah. It's a better title than Terminator Genesis. I'll give them that.
So anyway, back to the episode. I just love Joyce tries so hard to help all the time. She puts maximum effort into everything she does, and just the scene where she just tosses him the gun and just completely misses.
My exact thoughts were like, somewhere Zach Wilson would be proud. Like, man, all you had to do was just throw it near him, and you put it in the worst possible spot. Who does that remind me of?
Just slide it.
And then the other...
Gently toss it. You don't have to... No. Stop, Joyce.
But thankfully, Hopper managed to knock him down. And then he does a very bold move and handcuffs himself to Alexei. You have the fucking Terminator after you with, an assault rifle. And you're going to handcuff yourself to a guy who could potentially just decide, I'm going to go dead weight and just drag you and slow you down. I thought that was pretty ballsy by Hopper to do that.
If by ballsy you mean stupid, yes, I agree.
Yes.
Well, he took a gamble that, the Russian wanted to stay alive, or Alexei. So, like, I can see I can definitely see the mental idea of, like, I need someone to get information out of. No, like, if it was someone actually like a soldier who was a trained or something, like, I can definitely see them doing that. But, like, for Lexi, I can definitely see more self-preservation and the willingness to go with him, because he knew that even if he was getting grabbed, like, Grigori is not going to carry and shoot him. Like,
but
so
you also have him putting himself into another bad situation where right after this, you see them running to the car and Hopper's still hooked up to, Lexi. So Joyce has to get in the car and drive, and she's taking forever. Hopper's sitting in the backseat screaming, drive. Had he not handcuffed himself to Alexi, he could have taken over and just thrown Alexi into the car and driven. But
yeah,
that's just, us being perfect people if we were in these kind of situations. But
it is a lot easier when you're just on the outside. Like, yeah, do this.
Yeah.
Hey, but without Alexi, we wouldn't have Murray.
This is very true.
Yeah, that's true.
Which we will get to him very, very soon. And I'm very happy we do. So we see them kind of, the car shot to shit. They're pulled over. Hopper's working on the car, and you have Joyce just trying to interpret what she's trying to say to Alexi about magnets. And it's just pissing Hopper off more and more because all Joyce cares about is these damn magnets. Alexi's trying to tell Joyce and Hopper about the car. Hopper wants nothing to do with Alexi, even though Alexi probably knows a lot more about engines and shit than Hopper does. And they pretty much destroy the car. So we see a nice little, Lord of the Rings trek through the woods to Murray's house. And we get Murray who just...
Oh, you're skipping the whole 7-Eleven scene.
Yeah, man.
What are you doing?
Alexi wants his Slurpee.
The fact that Joyce goes, whoa, and sees Alexi just run off, and I was like, you should get him, and just thinking like because Joyce is just done with Hopper shit already, and because like Hopper is still trying to date, like pissed off that she blew him off on what he thought was a date, and she just thought it was like, oh, we're just going to hang out, and yeah, and then Alexi's like, oh, 7-Eleven, brand new, no, and the whole scene of them taking the car and the Todd father.
That's dumb.
Well, it's
dumb.
your typical douchey guy with the sports car. But also,
I want to say that as far as the 7-Eleven product placement goes, I usually don't like product placement movies or TV shows unless you do something either fun with it or you make me really like fun or unique or make me want the product. Like, for example, I saw a movie called Challengers recently that made me really want a breakfast sandwich from Dunkin' Donuts. This made me want a Slurpee. So job well done.
Yeah, the Lexi slips tasting it out.
Exactly. I was like, man, I don't think there's any 7-Elevens near me, but I kind of wish there was.
As a cinema fan, Mitchell, this kind of reminded me of Harold and Kumar go to White Castle when they finally get to White Castle. It reminds me of that movie. So. You've never seen that movie?
Nope.
It's okay.
I didn't say it was a good movie. It's a terrible movie. It's just a really shitty movie you have to see once just to say you've seen it.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of those, so
I've been in that White Castle.
I've never been to a White Castle once in my life.
Well, they don't really.
It kind of makes sense, though.
I think my New Jersey card just got ripped from me, but it's just the truth. Hey, I left when I was 13. I didn't get to go through high school or college.
You're allowed to have minimal Jersey cards on your person because you didn't really have much exposure. We didn't really start going to White Castle until high school, so.
Exactly, yeah. No, no one's taking their 10-year-old to White Castle.
It's allowed.
Chateau Blanc.
But we have Detective Joyce Byers on the case, and I look the Todd father just completely falls for Hopper's bullshit story. I mean, if you were in that situation, would you have given your car to some random dude who claimed to be a cop?
Well, because he is a cop.
But he didn't have a badge or anything to show him. He was just
I don't know. I mean, that dude, again, we've got Hellboy here and the Todd father. Who are you picking in a fight?
And we have Hopper looking as like he's on fucking Hawaii Five-0 running out of the woods saying, hey, I need your car.
I don't know. That kind of makes the intimidation factor go up a little bit. It's like this dude clearly does not give a damn about anything.
Well, it was more so the fact that, like, do you really think that Todd is a fighting kind of person? Like, no, exactly. Like,
Todd is the I'll sue you, bro type.
Exactly, and like, of course, like he called the cops later on because we saw the scene when Grigori was hunting him down, and you see the state troopers that he with.
Tell me about this psycho.
Yeah. But you can definitely see where, like, he was definitely pissed off with the situation.
Well, especially when Hopper screams, "Oh, just call the station," as they're driving off. And he's like, "What station?" That man is going to be haunted for the rest of his days. He's going to be just calling every police station in the entire state. Have you seen my car? But so we finally arrive at Murray's house, the infamous Murray. And they're just greeted by a shotgun from Alexei. And we find out that Alexei speaks fluent Russian. And
Murray speaks fluent Russian.
Yes. And just, silent scum to Alexei. And I love his little handmade metal detector. Murray's just like, we already got that from season 2, but he's just that crazy guy who's just got all these little inventions. He tries so hard to stay off grid that he just home makes all of his stuff.
Murray seems like the type of guy to have Aaron Rodgers on a podcast with him.
Why Aaron Rodgers, you say?
Because Aaron Rodgers is in all of these different conspiracy theories. And Murray seems very much like, yeah, if you connect these dots here, you connect these dots here, actually, aliens are the reason why the Yankees won the World Series in 1999.
So, headcanon, would Murray be that crazy-haired dude from Ancient Aliens?
Oh, I've never seen that show, so
you don't need to see the show. You just need to see
someone
known to man.
I don't know who that is. Sorry.
As someone, you've seen that meme, you definitely have. But like as someone who's grown up with a father who watches History Channel,
aliens. Yeah. Okay, yes. I know what you're talking about.
His last name's like Papadopoulos.
You don't even need to know his name. Just type in aliens and crazy hair, and that guy will pop up.
Yeah. But as someone who's watched the History Channel and actually seen that show multiple times, like, yeah, he would definitely be in that realm, but like more on he probably wouldn't be on that show because he's more of I can definitely tell Mitch just saw the image. Yes,
that guy. Yeah. I've seen him
because he doesn't have the degreal background of it, but like still, he would definitely fit with that vibe, 100%. Like my dad was literally watching a YouTube video the other day, when he came to visit me, and whatever YouTuber he was watching was talking about how the pyramids was able to rotate fast enough to be able to fly or some shit. It's the stupidest shit I ever heard, and like it's like, oh yeah, this isn't possible. I'm like, no, it's not. Like that's scientifically inaccurate. Stop it. No. Like it's like talking to a dog.
It's only slightly accurate.
Oh man, yeah, it was like make his own EMF field. Like no, yeah, but like Murray, yeah, but like thing is like even back then though, like making your own like metal detector or like, even your own radio equipment, like the kids do, like that's something that they were able to do, and like no, you had to go look through books and like have your own network, but for them that was the norm. Like if you want it, you have to build it. We can't just buy it on eBay or something.
Yeah. But we get one of many great Murray quotes when he's arguing with Hopper, who just brings him into the house, and he just says, "You have dragged an enemy of the state into my home as a child dragged shit on his shoes. I will search him until I feel satisfied." Just the shit Murray says always makes me happy, because he just calls Hopper out on all his shit and just doesn't give two fucks.
He's got good delivery. I think that actor plays up this role pretty well.
I mean, you didn't write them at the point with Joyce just ripping into him as well. I'm like, I'm sick of your shit. I don't care who the hell you are. Let's go figure out who. Like, I wonder what the freaking magnets are falling on my goddamn fridge. Figure it out for me. And I just love that scene where he's like, she's so freaking narrow-minded on this goddamn magnet.
She is, and it's so funny because like it's also like Joyce kind of gives the same vibe as Nancy does, and Murray. I don't know if Murray just respects it or doesn't know how to respond when someone just yells back at him, especially as a female, because like Hopper he'll argue with. But with Nancy and Joyce, he kind of goes, "Oh, they have something important to say. I should probably shut up and listen."
Also, he also calls out the lovers quarrel between Hopper and Joyce too. which is the second time
I
this
would love
happened.
to see a dating show with Murray as the host.
That
would be
that would actually be quite
Right?
funny.
Like, what was that old, like, one of the old dating shows where it's like different couples on? Like, I feel like he could run that. I don't even know what kind of show it'd be called, but just a bunch of different couples going through, like, relationship issues, and he just basically therapizes them the entire time.
No, that'd be the quickest thing ever. He wouldn't provide like any like, all right, so how about you talk to you, just like, just leave. just leave.
You wasted my time here.
Yeah, all right, next.
So speaking of next, so we go to the official title of Operation Child Endangerment, courtesy of Erica. And you just get awkward encounters. You get Steve pissing in the corner and Robin just kind of calling him out like, hey, can you go pee in another corner? Steve's smart. He established a pee corner.
You see the stream change a little bit, though. That's subtle detail.
He made an effort. But they quickly get interrupted when the Russians come in to basically get the supplies, and they just barely escape. They use the green, I don't even know what the hell you would call it, Connor, but something scientific term. It almost looked like
plasma.
Huh?
Plasma.
Yeah, let's go with plasma. It reminded me of the chemicals from The Rock with Nicolas Cage, Sean Connery. Have you ever seen that movie?
Damn it, quit talking about movies I haven't seen. And I know that's the one out of all the things you've mentioned that I actually want to watch.
Dude, come on. You're like the movie guru, and I've mentioned like 3 movies so far.
I have
not
if
seen
you
yet.
mention 90s action movies, that is a major blind spot for me. About the only one that I can say, yes, I've seen that, is Face Off, and I'm satisfied with that because it's the greatest movie ever made.
Dude, it's Nick Cage and Sean Connery in a movie together. How have you not seen this cinematic masterpiece?
I just haven't. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen Con Air. I haven't seen Air Force One.
You can skip those. Just go watch The Rock. It's fucking crazy.
It can't be better than Face Off.
And based on Connor's facial expressions, I'm assuming you haven't seen that either.
No, is Face Off the one with the Penguins mascot in it, or no?
No, Face Off is the one with Nicolas Cage and John Travolta, and they trade faces.
Oh, yeah, never seen that one.
Yeah, it's the dumbest movie ever, but it's also like the best movie ever made and should have won every Oscar.
Dude, I heard they're making a sequel. How does that work?
Multiple Face Off. You get all the people that, like 4 or 5 different people, and they all change faces.
No, it's a sequel. John Travolta and Nick Cage are coming back supposedly for a sequel, but
then they do the Face Off again.
I guess so.
Yeah. I was thinking of Sudden Death.
So
I've never even heard of that one.
Back to the episode. Question: how the fuck did the Russians manage to build this massive underground tunnel network and not get noticed?
No one was looking.
I need an explanation because
they did it very quietly.
I've seen this show so many times, and this has always bothered me. Just like the insane length of these tunnels and how deep they were, that a lot of shit had to get dug up. How did nobody see this?
Well, the thing is that like, there could be a lot of different ways. Like, I know one thing that, like, if you want to cover something up, you actually hire and fire multiple contractors, and by doing so, you keep changing the plans of things. And obviously, at the very end, you have the contractor who's actually building the elevator. Like, one thing I thought that went to my mind is like building the elevator, like how.
But how did they justify that?
Well, again, they built the mall. That was the thing. The mall was a cover up.
Yeah.
The mall was the cover up to move the dirt out, and it's like, oh, where are you getting all this dirt from? Oh, I was building the basement of the mall and make sure everything's fine. Like,
but also building a tunnel that goes miles and miles away from the mall.
Well, again, like they would have hired someone where, they would have hired a Russian contractor where they're the ones who are doing the job for them, and where they know what the deal is.
I
If they're planning so far to make a giant ass, like, let's say a nuclear laboratory underground, they would have went as far. No, okay, we need to make sure these precautions are in place.
To compare it to another movie, there's a movie that came out the year that this season came out called Us, in which there's like these tunnels underground built by the government for these experiments that went wrong. So I feel like whenever anything that like this comes up, you can just say, the government just had it as a fail-safe for such and such, and now it's being used for this.
See, I'm glad at least you had a modern example, because every time I see these tunnels, it reminds me of Austin Powers. And
I have
going
seen
forward and
those.
back.
please, for the love of God, I was to say, please, for the love of God, tell me you've seen Austin Powers. If not, I'm gonna.
I don't particularly like them, but I've seen them.
Because it just reminds me of the little hallway scene with his little golf cart thing that he's trying to. But yeah, so anyway, that's just my gripe with the whole concept of these underground tunnels. But so you get the group kind of walking along, and you definitely see the dynamic of the group shift a little bit, where you still have Dustin and Steve kind of pulling back and talking amongst themselves and excluding Robin and Erica, because once again, we have, potential new members to this party that they're just not quite sure what to do with. And it's always interesting because, Robin kind of calls him out on it, but it's like, Dustin's always in an awkward situation where he just doesn't know what to do with new people of the group. Steve was an easy inclusion because, he needed muscle and Steve was there to provide it. But now it's like you're in an underground Russian lab, essentially, with two people that have no idea what the hell is going on. It's like, do you tell them? Do you not tell them?
No, I never get that kind of conflict that they're having. Because what they know, it kind of reminds me of the whole situation with Max, where like she didn't even believe what they were saying in the first place, like about the whole the wild shit's been happening in Hawkins in the past 2 years.
Yeah.
So like how the Russians are here, but like how would you also explain the existence of other weirdly dimensions and beings and mind flayers? Like, it's a long story, and there was not enough time to have people to digest it and make sure what's happening.
Yeah. And you also get a little bonding between Robin and Dustin, which I liked. Robin's almost like Dustin's big sister figure at this point.
That's the vibe that I got as well.
Because Robin's kind of like that secret nerd where she kind of understands and respects nerds, but isn't a full.
No, she's not a secret nerd. She embraces it.
No. There's no secret.
She's a band geek. She's a band geek. She mentions the first mentions the Steve.
That's true.
When the whole I admired you scene.
Yeah, that's true.
Shut that shit down.
My apologies. I still love Robin as a character, but
you better.
Yes, and you see them kind of bond over Cyborg from DC. Erica calls them nerds and just refuse to be lumped in, and we'll see her kind of get broken down by Dustin soon. But they kind of arrive, and another gripe I have with this episode is they arrive at basically I guess you call it the central hub underground, and no one fucking sees them. You have 4 kids running underground in this big area. Like, how does nobody get caught?
Maybe they're all blind.
I guess so.
And deaf.
But they finally, they get into, I guess, the comms room, and Robin all of a sudden just like starts talking to the Russian guard and is like talking about the code, like, oh, we're the Silver Cat. And Steve just goes idiot mode and just charges at him and takes.
I don't know if that was idiot mode, because here's the thing. I think he was expecting. He was like, you know what? I don't think what you're doing is going to work. So I'm just going to go and tackle this guy. And, nice form tackle too, as far as, maybe I didn't hit the instant replay with it, but it looked clean. It looked like, he kept the head relatively up, made the tackle. It was very good. And then Dustin had my favorite line maybe of the entire show, or the entire season so far. He's like, dude, you did it. You finally want to fight. And we've been talking about it for so long where Steve's just been getting his ass beat.
Yep.
Every single time he gets into a fight, whether it's with why am I blanking on his name? The older brother, Max's older brother.
Jonathan. Billy.
Billy, yeah, because he's not really in this episode. But yeah, Billy's beating his ass. Billy's beating his ass. Jonathan beat his ass. I'm pretty sure like a tree branch, smacked him in the face at one point. And so he finally got a W in a fight. His record's now like 1-6. So good job.
And I think the only reason he won this fight is because he had that element of surprise where it's just like that awkward pause of like, you don't know
what you will get.
Well, the thing is with Robin saying all the code stuff, like she was just buying time for someone else to figure something out. Like, he just took the initiative. Like, okay, I think it's the best course of action. I'm just going to spring it. This is my chance and my only chance. I'm taking it now, and which was to me obviously is the right decision at the end. But him grabbing the phone is like just winding up with that phone is across the face. Like, yes, let's go.
So we end with this group finding where Robin basically walks into a big room where we see a machine, kind of a new glimpse of the machine that we saw in the first episode of the season. And we see that they're opening up the gate again and awakening the Mind Flayer that was trapped in there. So what do you think the implications of this are, Connor, since you have not seen this?
Well, I wouldn't say awakening, because the Mind Flayer is still like flaying people.
Yeah, like, I think it was a part of him was left behind, but now it's like the main hub has been opened.
Yeah, the door is opening. I'm like, no, it's kind of what's that one quote? It's like the Jurassic Park quote where it's like, you don't know what you're messing with here.
Yeah.
If somebody ever said it'd be great. I can't recall off the top of my head. But like they have no like the kids have seen this before and like know what shit goes down, but like the Russians have no, like, to them it's just untapped resources.
Yep.
And they just want to get as much advantage as possible, especially during this Cold War era. And yeah, it's just definitely I'm intrigued how the Russians are going to react to it, because of the fact that they have no idea what they're getting into.
Yep. So that's kind of where we leave our Operation Child Endangerment is now coming to an end. They're just kind of stuck where this big machine is. And now we shift over to the bigger party, where we kind of have a lot of little things going on. We got Nancy is calling Jonathan to ask him, to give Will the phone. We have 11 tracking Hopper, trying to figure out where they're going. And she discovers that they're in Illinois, and everybody's like, what the hell is he doing out in Illinois? And Mike, Lucas, and Will are debating on what to do and how they can't just beat Billy. He's too strong. And they're kind of figuring out what to do with 11, because people want to use 11 for her powers. Mike doesn't want to use 11 because he hates using her as a tool. And
Will's still stuck in that wet paper bag that he can't act his way out of.
Yeah.
All right, it's been a minute. Noah Schnepp, you're not off the hook, buddy.
He's got a rat on him every chance he can.
Yeah, you know what? I don't feel bad about it. He's just not a good actor.
The funny thing is, like, I forget what scene it was, but it did pop to my head. I was like, hey, like, just no snap.
There's one of them in every episode, and the further along it goes, like season 4, you're gonna have episodes where you're just like, oh man, come on, man. Someone had to say cut. There's got to be a better take than this.
And you know what? We get one more season of this.
Well, one more after the next one.
In current time, season 4 is already out. We're waiting on season 5.
That's true.
But so
quick aside, do we have a Did we ever get a date for that? I know they're like in production, but I don't know if they've set a date other than just generic 2025.
I don't think it's a specific date, but let me Google this real quick.
The actors and writers strike kind of prolonged things.
Yeah.
From according to Google, end of 2025, early 2026 is the
good lord.
Is the estimated.
If it's early 2026, that means it's been 10 years to cover 5 seasons. And they're still supposed to be in either middle school or high school. Nah, these people have like full-on LinkedIn profiles with work experience by now.
Well, there was the rumor that there was going to be some sort of time jump between season 4 and season 5, which, again, who the hell knows? I mean, it's a ways off at this point, but
yeah,
don't spoil anything.
I will not say.
Oh no, we won't. We've been very careful about that.
You've been very good about it. But I'm saying it's like, I don't know. I just like, I don't know. Just making sure.
Don't worry, I will not spoil the whole purpose of this podcast, Connor.
No, if anybody spoils anything, it is going to be Tommy. I will tell you that right now.
Well,
the only thing I will allude to is like if something is of high quality or of low quality. That's it.
And season 4 is of the highest quality. But
I agree.
Anyhow, away from the season 5 talk. We'll get to that once we finish season 4. So we have the boys kind of doing what typical middle school, high school boys do and trying to understand the world of girls. And we have all the girls in the bathroom talking, and they are theorizing that they're plotting and conspiring against them. You know, as logical boys think of. And they kind of make the joke, like, we can hear you. And Lucas and Mike kind of have that awkward back and forth. Will just sits in the background.
Will's just like, can we do something else,
what
guys?
You should be doing.
Yeah,
it's like that awkward fifth wheel because you have Mike and Lucas.
I'm not even going to allude to things, but I can kind of
And Will's just sitting in the corner with a thumb up his ass, not sure what to do, whose side he should be on.
Where does this paper bag end?
I'm fine.
Oh my god!
So finally, we have Jonathan and Nancy kind of showing up, and we have a nice little powwow, and they talk about how people are getting flayed. So we have the title of the episode in the show. Big moment, and they kind of piece together that they theorize that Tom Holloway is a potential flayed, and that's when they decide, let's just go mystery ink this shit and investigate. Because what else would you do in a time like this?
Well, this was like the major convergence of so far in the season where because you originally had starting the season we had 5 separate parties and and then in the ending of episode 4 and into this one we actually had the convergence of Will's feeling shit again.
Yeah,
and then they had the whole L with. Was it the whole thing when the lights were flickering the night before? Because it was the brother of Nancy, Mike. Mike asked Nancy what time exactly did this happen?
Yeah,
when she went to see the old lady, and she's around 9 o'clock. It's yeah, that lines up. Things are again the puzzles of pieces are falling into place of okay, the things that we're experiencing as well is occurring. Same thing with there's a connection here.
Yeah,
and it's kind of funny. Every this is the 3rd time this has happened so far. Have they figured out we should talk to each other sooner again? Because everything, if anything goes weird, they should at least converge immediately because it's not the first time.
And I think that's something that Stranger Things does very well in how they allow all the characters to kind of interact with new characters each season. You don't have the same groups, with the exception, I guess, of Nancy and Jonathan, and then Joyce and Hopper usually tend to be a clique. But everyone else, they're always intermingling with different characters, and you can see different interactions. It's whenever you have a big party like this, that's when you know, all right, some revelation is going to happen in the show, because there's no other reason for them to have this big massing of characters. Otherwise, they'd be all doing little side quests, which, again, that's the revelation we come to, is they go Mr. Ink that shit, and they drive to the Holloway's house, and they kind of look around, and it's literally just collecting clues. I mean, they're finding all these chemicals and substances, and they're trying to figure out, like, what the hell is all this for? And they find evidence of, the Holloways being tied up. And Nancy has a little, mind blast of Mrs. Driscoll saying, take me back. And the big question that comes up is, we need to find the source and stop it from spreading. So how do we do that? And we get Will, being, I guess, somewhat useful for once, is to let Mrs. Driscoll go to where she wants to go. So they think, well, let's go bust her out of the hospital. Because, what else would, a bunch of kids be able to do and break out an old lady from a hospital? So, I don't know. Will just has genius ideas, I guess. What do you think, Mitchell?
No. No. If Will has the idea, I'm saying, all right, whatever that is, let's do the opposite of it. It's kind of like when you see someone that's really bad at betting sports, you go, all right, well, if they're taking the over, I'm taking the under.
I just think it's funny. Like, what makes them think they'd be able to break some old lady out of a hospital?
Yeah, no.
And just, they all drive down there. But we get the sassy nurse again, who tells them, only a couple at a time. So we get Nancy and Jonathan going up.
She was mad as hell.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't know what the hell y'all are doing, but only 2 at a time. I'm not dealing with all y'all little asses today.
It's like every customer service, or just, any job where you just see a group of people and you're just like, fuck, like, I don't want to deal with this.
Or anyone in that job that's like, I got time today. I'm not going to do that whole I don't care thing.
Like, I got
time and I'm mad and I'm making it your problem.
But so we get Nancy and Jonathan going up basically to their doom at this point. And
very true.
We'll skip over. You get a little, Mike and Lucas trying to figure out, Lucas trying to give Mike advice on how to talk to 11. And Mike and 11 have a quick little moment, bonding, trying to get back together. Mike is desperately trying to rekindle that relationship. And we get Nancy and Jonathan getting to Mrs. Driscoll's room. She's not there. And what do we get? Mr. Tom.
It's Tommy.
And this is definitely where things got very dark with this episode, because it was very horror-esque. You have him covered in blood, and just that creepy line of I'd be hoping you would show up, Nancy.
Yep.
And you see them running through the hospital. Lights are flickering. You have all the nurses dead on the floor. And that's another thing that, it's nighttime, I'm assuming, at this hospital. It's like that night shift vibe where it's just like nobody's around. And it reminded me of, I think it was Halloween 2, where they're in the hospital and Michael Myers just...
I haven't seen that one.
Come on, dude. Seriously?
No, I haven't seen the only... You can stab.
You can say it's a 90s action movie. That's
no. You can stab me when I say this. It's fine. The only Halloween movies I've seen are the most recent 3.
Okay.
And
I mean, they're exactly
fine
movies that you have to see them all to understand what's going on. It's very simple concept.
This is okay. So when Stranger Things first came out, it was kind of sold on like 80s nostalgia for the family. Everyone can enjoy it, but some of these episodes, and this one in particular in the last 10, 15 minutes or so, are very not family friendly in that there's a lot of blood. There's a lot of that horror imagery. And it kind of reminded me, because of the lighting and all of the different blood effects, It reminded me a little bit of Evil Dead Rise, which was a really good horror movie that came out last year that if you haven't seen, you should check out.
Yep, that's a good one.
Especially with a creature design at the end that we will get to, it was kind of like, okay, that reminded me of something that I saw at the end of Evil Dead Rise that I thought was interesting. But you don't usually see this show, at least that I can remember. There were some bloody moments here and there, but this kind of went like it embraced it, and it didn't like hit you with the Nerf bat for the kiddies, and I appreciated that.
Yep, it definitely gets dark.
So the first when I first saw them like interacting, like how they're moving and stuff, one thing that did come to mind was Men in Black, Edgar with the bug dude.
Mm-hmm.
Because like just the way that the bodies were moving around and like how like just like the overall demeanor of like them being like a kind of like a puppet, like how Edgar was, where it's like something's inside their skin and like controlling them, and it gave me very much that kind of vibe overall to it.
Yeah. I'll edit this out. Did we lose Mitchell?
I don't know. Oh, he's trying to talk. You're muted. Does he know he's muted?
I don't think so.
I am here. Hello. Hi. I'm here.
46 minutes in.
We're doing so good.
We're doing so good.
What? How about now?
There he is.
You're muted still.
How about now?
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you now. Look at that.
All right.
I didn't change anything. I just literally did the equivalent of turning it off and turning it back on again. I turned my camera off, turned it back on again, turned me on mute, and yeah.
We were doing so well.
Whatever. Okay. Let's continue.
Continue
the story.
So yeah, I don't hear my spot where I was talking about the villain. Those guys gonna be Edgar from Men in Black.
Yeah.
Like them, like being in a skin suit and like kind of like puppets.
Yeah. No, I didn't see that, but now that you're saying that, I can get what you're coming from that. That was the big dude from the beginning of the movie, right? That just kept wanting. Was it sugar that he was trying to eat the whole time?
I think so. Oh yeah, something of that nature. Yeah. Because he became that giant bug thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
I guess maybe something like that would have happened if and we'll get into it. They didn't get stabbed and brutally murdered.
I mean, they were close to it. Because speaking of another little horror flashback, you get Bruce smashing through the door window, kind of, a little shining moment. And he just throws him around like a couple of ragdolls and beats the absolute shit out of Jonathan. How Jonathan walked away from this one, I don't know, because...
Plot armor.
Yeah, plot armor is right, because, I mean, he took a chair pretty bad to the back. But you get Nancy stabbing Bruce with the scissors and runs out. So now we have Jonathan and Nancy split, which is never a good sign. Especially when, creepy Tom definitely has a thing for getting Nancy.
Yeah, no, I wasn't getting the best vibes from him.
No. Not at all. Which, again,
vibes were not good.
Part of how the character was written. But he just, Tom continues to attack Jonathan, and Bruce is just being a dick, taunting Nancy as he's chasing after her. And we have Nancy smashing Bruce with a fire extinguisher, which is a great move. And Jonathan stabs Tom in the neck. And next thing you know, we see kind of a little glimpse of how the Flayed worked. Because when Tom got stabbed, you see Bruce kind of get affected too. So you can see that they're all sort of connected in a little weird way. And then you get Will again, another great acting moment. Real, the lights are flickering, and he just kind of has that look of like, "Oh shit, something's going on." And so now we get our little monster reference that you guys were talking about, and you get Bruce and Tom really creepy scene where you see them convulsing, and they turn into just like this goo, kind of like the Thing. I guess is probably the best thing I can compare it to.
I haven't seen that one.
We gotta get you onto some.
Sorry, that's high on the list. That's coming around this Halloween. I'll tell you that.
All right. Well, Halloween, we're gonna have a whole horror education for you because
yes, please do.
I would went with the Blob personally.
Yes. Okay. All right. That is a better reference.
See, I went with if you've seen Evil Dead Rise, there's this just thing in the end of the movie that people kind of morph into.
Yeah.
And it reminded me a little bit of that.
That's fair. But we just how the goo came together was just really gross, and you just got body parts, the chemicals, all that kind of shit just kind of morphing into this goo monster.
Yeah, see, that's where I got the Evil Dead thing from.
I definitely see it.
It's parts of other things.
It was definitely an oh shit moment for me because it was definitely a very terrifying looking monster compared to what we've seen in the past.
Right. See, I remember watching this and we binged. I was at the beach with my now fiance and her family for the 4th of July weekend, and they're big Stranger Things fans as well. So we just kind of binged the entire season while that came out. And I kept telling Sarah, I'm like, I really hope that this kind of leans into horror as we go further on. And so this was the episode that kind of caused that, that one meme where you just lean forward in your chair. The end of this was like, all right, we're gonna get the kind of thing that I'm looking for. And I look around the room and I can tell that I'm the only one that really wants the show to go down this path.
Well, you want that though, because that's what made the show so good is the suspense of just not knowing what was going to happen next. Because as good as the show is, it's also very good at just going off the rails and you're just like, what the fuck is going on right now?
Yeah.
And it was definitely a big shift because you have season 1 and season 2 where the biggest villain you really had was just the Demogorgon, which are just these humanoid alien looking creatures, and now you have a whole goo monster that just looks bizarrely scary. And that's when I was kind of like, all right, we're gonna be in for some crazy couple episodes coming up because this is some crazy looking shit.
I think too, like, at least to my perspective, as this is my first time going through them, is like every season had its own, like, that suspense was different in aspects.
Yeah.
Though, like, so the first season was the suspense of like the unknown. The second season was the suspense of like motive and like more of like understanding of like, oh, what's happening here, kind of situation of like trying to puzzle together like, oh, these are all connected, like the whole tunnel system thing. And then like this season, definitely the suspense from this is driven from horror of like, no, just the shock of, again, these like the rats blowing up into these blobs, and like kind of like again, it isn't to me like horror in the way of like American Horror Story, but like more of horror as in like, again, like the 1980s kind of vibe. Like the Blob is a great example, literally, because like they're like, it's like that slow impending doom that's coming.
I like that. That's a good connection. So that's how we end the episode. So Connor, we got 4 episodes left, Mitchell? 3 episodes left this season?
We have 3 left, 6, 7, and then 8 for all you counting folks out there.
So Connor, now that we have a new monster in the mix, what do you think might happen in the next couple episodes? Just ballpark.
Well, honestly, I don't know, because the fact that, like, no, obviously we're going to get some type of
man.
fight. Well, the thing is, like, there's a lot of things still in play. That's what I'm trying to get at here. Is that
No, I'm just making funny. I'm sorry.
I know you're good. You're good. I knew you get there. You're fine. I knew you were doing. But the thing is, like, the reason I'm saying that is because, like, no, we know the fight's gonna come up next episode. No, it's gonna happen. But we still have this whole Russian angle of, like, no. I'm assuming that somehow that Joyce and Hopper will converge somehow with the what did you call them? Operation Orphan Children, or whatever it was?
Child endangerment.
Yeah, child endangerment. That's what it is. Yes, which honestly, great name. But I'm assuming those two parties will match up because, like, no, they're both dealing with the Russian front on this way. No pun intended here. But because, like, they literally see the I don't call it an accelerator, or this beam that this being shooting off, and it's kind of like, oh, where they get captured, you don't know what's going to happen with them. No, we have Alexei. What information Alexei will give? How will that drive the plot?
Yep.
And then the other question is still, like, they haven't figured out where the home base is for the Mind Flare, so they still need to puzzle that one out too.
Yep.
So, and then the third side, which we really haven't seen much yet, is the third faction of the Russians, and how are they going to deal with all the things on the other side? Because no, my mental idea of it is they're going to kind of start shoot first, not ask questions later. But we don't know, and know what information would they tell Lexi when they start realizing what connections the Upside Down has with what they're trying to do.
Yep.
So
sounds good. So do you guys want to hop into some ratings?
Let's do it.
Sure. Fun ass episode. Like 9 is something where I'm very happy to give, and like even when I had a rewatch of this one just to refresh myself, and I was like, yeah, I was still in grip with the episode even on a rewatch on this. Yep. And everything was hitting the right cylinders. No, again, like, I feel like the interactions in this episode were like really strong. Like it, but like it still wasn't as good as the previous one though.
Yeah.
Like, because there was a little bit slower paced things, but like still very solid.
Yeah, it was kind of a build up episode a little bit with still some crazy shit happening, but it was definitely setting up for what's to come.
Yeah.
I would give it a 8.9, kind of for the same reasons. I loved Murray coming back. I love the different interactions, having the very horror-esque ending to this episode. I definitely enjoyed. It was definitely good to, kind of change the pace for this. So 8.9 is where I'm standing. And
all right, well,
my prediction, I'm going with it. I'm going with an 8.7.
Connor?
Yeah, mine was 8 points. I don't remember what I did for this one. I don't know. 8.4.
Because we had talked about this back in the day.
I don't even remember.
I don't remember either.
My grade is different. I'm a little bit higher on it because I was at an 8.69, and now I'm at an 8. Yeah, Tommy was trying to cheat. I did 8.7. Yeah, good work, buddy.
I haven't looked at that since we did this.
Dude, I literally see the T in the right-hand corner, meaning that you are looking at this. Oh,
that's
never
me.
mind.
Yeah.
Well,
that's me.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to change my thing up here. I'm going to be an 8.74. Let's do that. That's where I'm at.
I still win. I don't care.
Well, yeah, that's true. But I liked this episode. I really liked how at the end it kind of It leaned into the horror aspect of things. I liked the Joyce Hopper dynamic and the introduction of new characters, as well as bringing back Murray, I thought, in a really interesting way that didn't just feel like, all right, we're bringing him back because he was in season 2 and we want to have him involved in season 3. It felt like a very as natural as you could possibly reintegrate that character version of doing that. So job well done, and I have total and complete trust that we will be even higher rankings as we move forward.
Yep.
Well then, follow us on our socials. We're on X. Is it X, Twitter?
We're
Whatever you want to call
everything,
that.
essentially.
No, we're calling it Twitter.
Twitter.
Yeah.
I always say, no, screw Elon Musk, but no,
Yeah.
it's the whole thing. Instagram, all the fun things. And then like, subscribe, download. That always helps. And let us know what you guys think.
And the Press Play Action podcast is going to be reviewing The Godfather and Godfather 2. So that's the next episode. But if you're interested, we just reviewed the entirety of Quentin Tarantino's filmography. So go check that out over on Press Play Action. Also a Jersey Nerds production if you want to watch along with us. Quentin Tarantino, certainly one of our best directors.
Can't complain there. And for Stranger Nerds, that is all.
Yeah.